everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Carol and I am a freelance lifestyle journalist who also runs the blog almostdiplomatic.com. It's where I write about my life as a diplomat's wife, the good life on a budget, and currently living in and traveling from Berlin. Today we're going to talk about the 10 myths about life as a diplomatic spouse. And I already wrote about this on my blog before and it's actually the most popular post there. When I looked through YouTube recently, I noticed that not a lot of people are talking about diplomatic life, especially from the spouse's perspective. So I thought, why not make more content about it? And the best way to start is by going back to the basics. A lot of people have weird assumptions on what diplomats do, and these assumptions become even worse when it comes to the spouses. Today, we're going to discuss these myths and assumptions, and hopefully add better information about diplomats and their spouses online. So without further ado, let's start. First, it's all about partying and being the glorified plus one. Diplomatic events are there for a reason. Networking is one of the cornerstones of diplomatic work, and spouses have a lot to contribute in this field. True, there are a lot of events, but they're not the only thing about the job. During these events where we accompany our spouses, we have to carry ourselves well. We have to make sure that we don't say anything undiplomatic, and of course, we have to help them build professional relationships in their place of assignment. True, we find friends in these situations too. However, at the end of the day, it's still mostly work. We're bored and we don't need to do anything in our mansions. I wish, but not everybody in the diplomatic service has help at home. Ambassadors and consuls general usually have private staff at home, but they usually host bigger events in their homes as well. In my case, it's just me, my husband, and our dog, and having help just feels a little excessive, especially because it's still pretty manageable, even though the three of us can be busy at the same time. Yes, that includes the dog. We do host smaller, more casual events at home. They're mostly dinners or what Germans would call Kaffee und Kuchen. In our culture in the Philippines, something we would call merienda. We like keeping the number of our guests to 6. Yes, we do have a dedicated dining area, which gives us a little more space when it comes to having people over. However, for me, I think that 6 is my maximum number, up to which I could keep the party still more relaxed and chill, more casual, and of course, budget-friendly. It's where careers go to die. This is an unfair assumption, especially because it feels like there is so much judgment in there. There's no shame at all if you're someone who wants to stop working and focus on family while you're at post. Raising a family, after all, entails a lot of work and self-sacrifice. But if you're someone who wants to keep a career going for yourself, it is not impossible to do so. You just have to be creative. There are a lot of freelancing options online. I myself am a freelance journalist and content creator. Yes, it's not full-time work, but it keeps me sharp in the field that I chose back in university and decided to stick to. Other people with specialized careers often find themselves pursuing further studies while at post, or maybe taking up something entirely new. There are also some people who find so much joy and fulfillment in volunteering. So if you're interested, there are always ways to go about different types of career paths. However, one thing to take note of is if you want full-time work while you are at post, you should check whether your home country has an agreement with your host country that allows diplomatic dependents to work there. It's usually a two-way thing. If the diplomatic spouses of your host country assigned to their embassy in your home country are allowed to work legally, then it shouldn't be a problem for you as well. But it's always best to double check. There are also some cases where diplomatic dependents are required to seek a special permit to be allowed to work in their host country. So again, double check. Next, we get away with everything. Another thing people love asking about is diplomatic immunity. Do diplomats and their dependents get parking tickets? Can we get away with murder? First, I have to explain what diplomatic immunity is. And I was a former foreign affairs journalist before shifting my focus to lifestyle, so I do hope I do this justice. Diplomatic immunity is there to ensure safe passage for diplomats and to allow them to do their jobs unimpeded, especially if they are assigned in a country that is in not so good terms with the government they serve. Yes, diplomats and their immediate family do enjoy a number of, let's call them legal perks. However, this does not mean that we could just go out and, disrespect the host country's laws without any consequences. Remember, diplomacy is all about building relationships, and the key to that objective is mutual respect. Violations, especially grave offenses, can lead to serious disagreements between countries. There were also some cases where diplomats and their families were expelled and branded as persona non grata. Yes, they were not sent to jail for what they did, but being branded a PNG and not being allowed to set foot in that country again is a lot to deal with, especially in a career that puts a high premium on a good reputation. So that should always be protected. We don't have an opinion on politics. Of course we do, it's just that putting it out there can usually do more harm than good, so it's best to leave it to the experts. Our lives abroad are easy breezy. We go through a lot of adjustments just like everyone else who moves abroad. Maybe it's a bit easier for the diplomat of the family because he already has a routine set for him because of his job. For the families, however, it's always about starting from zero. Meeting new people, building a whole new support system. Well, you get used to doing that, but does it get any easier? For children, there's always the challenge of looking for new schools, making new friends and meeting new playmates. That's bound to be hard, especially if you're young. However, expounding on those challenges is definitely for another video. Our spouses are spies. That sounds really sexy and very James Bond. Yes, diplomats report about their host countries all the time, and these reports are sent back to the home office regularly. These reports are usually about topics or matters wherein the home country of the diplomat has a high interest in. But anything where they have to climb up the side of a building and then use a laser disguised as a pen to open up a window, get in there and steal documents to be sent back for a report, well, that's usually more Hollywood rather than real-life diplomatic work. Sorry. We live tax-free lives. For the record, the Philippine government taxes my husband's salary, whether we are in Manila or at post, just like everyone else. Pantay-pantay lang po tayo. Back when I was a full-time journalist living in Manila, my income was also being taxed even after I married my husband. It's true that while at post, we don't have to pay income tax to our host country, so in our case, Germany. But that's because my husband's income comes from our home country, the Philippines, and the same rule applies for diplomats who are posted in Manila. So yes, in the end, somewhere, somehow, we are also paying taxes, just like you. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. We totally wish! More often than not, diplomats find themselves shelling out money from their personal budget to get the job of promoting the country done. And that goes for the spouses too. At the end of the day, I married a bureaucrat. And at the same time, we also have to represent our country well. So that's where being wise and crafty with your money comes in. How do you get the most out of it? How do you throw an awesome dinner in your home without breaking the bank? How do you dress up and incorporate your culture into your outfit when buying national clothes come with a heavy shipping fee? We will also have a separate video on that, but just to let you know, I'm actually wearing Filipino earrings. These are made by a designer named Torres from Pampanga, and the design is called Pidayit. We only do fancy. Definitely not true. I do enjoy the occasional dinner from Mustafa's, and coming from an average Filipino family, I grew up eating street food, and it's something that I still crave for. Guys, sana talaga may isaw sa Berlin, di ba? Fancy is great, and a lot of the events do have that tone because countries want to present themselves with elegance. This is not because they want to show off, but a certain level of sophistication really does give a better impression of your country to your guests. A lot of diplomats and their spouses lead pretty chill, normal lives, and I'll be showing more of that soon. At this point of the video, I've shared some of the things that people assume about life as a diplomatic spouse, and I hope the things I shared were able to clarify some of the misconceptions and also fight the stigma, especially for us women who had to leave a lot from our home countries as well, like our time with our families and of course our careers. In the next video, I will be talking about the struggles that diplomatic families face. And if you're somebody who's thinking of entering the foreign service, or if you're a family member of one, then you should definitely watch that video because I will be talking about the things that you should be getting ready for. So if you want to learn more about life as an expat or a diplomat and also living in Berlin, then do subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll know once the next video is up. For now, I hope you have a wonderful and fruitful day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!